this computer.
Okay.
And sharing screen as we get started.
All right.
So as we're switching over gears, folks, those of you who attended the webinar on Wednesday, August 19th, you might be thinking, wait a minute, Katie and Megan have changed clothes. And you are right, because it is actually a different day. Technology glitches somehow blocked our recording going beyond the 6-minute trial run that we did. So here we are the day after, trying to recreate that webinar experience and our screencast or webinar cast of the accessibility updates for the fall semester. So we'll do our best to keep close to the message we shared yesterday. And thanks everyone for their patience. If there's anything unclear, you can just come back and find us. And with that, here's the overview of what we're going to get into today. We have a rundown of our availability in this unusual fall 20 semester. We're going to talk a little bit about letter sharing, testing center, audio recording, modified agreements, Kurzweil, Sonascent, and leave some time for questions, which right now, since we are without an audience, should be a fairly minimal list of questions to ask, but we will do what we can as needs emerge. So I'll turn it over to Megan to get us started with, what our availability situation is for this semester.
Yes, so as you can see, our on-campus availability is very limited. We can do things by appointment. I'm encouraging folks to continue to do Zoom meetings and Zoom appointments where necessary, so we can really mitigate our risk of exposure to COVID and also really dedicate the on-campus time for the needs that we'll talk about later on. But we are available our normal hours, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and you can reach us by our personal emails or the general ADA support email listed below, which Katie and I both have access to. And the numbers that are on the screen here, those are numbers separate from our office numbers. Those are numbers that we have set up through an app called Ring Central, which is an internet-based phone number. So you can call or text that number, and that's been really helpful for a lot of folks that have used it so far. That's something that we got during the pandemic in the spring when we went remote.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And yes, and if we are on campus, we are typically working out of what is my office space in Glendenning Hall, which is Glendenning 254. We've moved, Megan goes there when I'm not there and vice versa, so that we aren't adding to the traffic in the main OS 3 suite of Glendenning 230. So for letter sharing, it's a little different this semester because you may not be using the paper copy of the letter to share with your instructors. We're asking you not to, in fact. And to do your letter sharing, we're going to show you how to walk through that in just a moment with Joey Tribbiani. There is the semester notice to faculty of eligible accommodations. That should theoretically be sitting in your inbox. When we generate that letter for you, it is emailed to you, but we know sometimes inboxes get overwhelming and things might be filed into the trash bin or otherwise lost. So what you should do is go into Accommodate to download it as a PDF and attach it to an email. We're asking folks to copy us on the emails when you send them to your instructors. And this is just a little bit of a different process, but what that is allowing us to do this year is do that verification that we've asked instructors to provide to you once they receive your letter. So that way it's just, again, another way to electronically manage what's going on. So Megan's going to take over the screen and switch into Joey Tribbiani's case file in just a moment. You ready to take it?
I'm ready to take it.
All right.
So. I was trying to screen share and I popped myself out of the window. Okay, so this is what the Accommodate home screen looks like for you all. If you're looking for your letters, you're going to go to the Accommodation tab right here on the left-hand side. You're going to click on that. You're going to see that there's a lot of different buttons to click, but all of your accommodation letters will be under button called accommodation letters. So when you go into this, you will see a series of letters. You'll see all your letters that you've ever received. So anything from your initial accommodation letter to each semester request that you've made. So you're going to go to the top one, which is the most recent one, or it should be the most recent one, and you're going to click on the faculty advisor official letter of accommodation. Make sure it's for the correct semester, so fall 20, and make sure it's the most recent and up-to-date version. So as you can see that Joey Tribbiani had another fall semester letter that he had in July 14th, but this one is more up to date. So we're going to click on that one. And then once you get into that, you can see that there's options to either print the letter or generate it as a PDF. If you generate this as a PDF, it'll download right onto your computer, and then you can attach that as an email or you can attach it to your email and then CC us on it. Like Katie said, that'll give us that means of acknowledgement and confirm that letters have been shared with your professors. Something else that I wanted to mention in here as well is that all of the accommodations that you have on this, make sure that those are up to date and accurate. And we also have all of your classes on there. So your class schedule should be accurate and up to date. If you have changed classes since you've gotten a letter of accommodation, please reach out to us and let us know so we can edit your letter and resend it to you so you can send it to the appropriate professors. Since add drop is a little different this semester, you might notice a little bit more of a lag in accommodate and portal updating one another. So if that is the case, just please let us know so then we can loop in the appropriate instructors to make sure that they all have accurate information.
Great. All right, so back to Zoom is being cantankerous. Imagine, I don't know why.
It's crazy.
So there, I know, never happens. So back to what we got going on here with letter sharing. So our next slide, this is where we're going to spend some time talking about the testing center, because this is for us right now the axis of the accessibility universe for fall 2020, but an axis that has a lot of question marks around it. So with that, I turn it over to our testing center guru, Megan.
Yes, so as most of you all know by now, most exams will be remote, so our availability is pretty sparse for the testing center. We are available to support paper-based accommodations for paper-based exams. If you feel like you really struggled with computer-based exams, quizzes, in the remote period and you feel like you may benefit from a paper-based exam accommodation, please come talk to us so we can have follow-up conversations about whether that might be something that can support you in this hybrid semester. If tests or quizzes are open or available to do longer than the class period, then that is now considered an out-of-class assignment and does not qualify for testing center use. And it also doesn't apply to that 50% extra time or 100% extra time, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's technically a different accommodation to have a different deadline for an out-of-class assignment. And it's possible you already have that in your profile, and it's possible you don't. But if you see, again, in this remote world, things are different, come talk to us. Nothing is absolute. We want to make sure that we can hear what's going on, understand your situation, understand the conditions you're working under, and see if there might be barriers that we weren't aware of as all of this moved forward. So nothing is closed. Talk to us.
Right.
So more on the testing center.
Yes, so as I had said earlier, the testing center capacity is very limited. So as you all should have received, if anybody is planning to test in the testing center or thinks they may test in the testing center, they need to make sure that they're filling out the testing center agreement form, which was in our initial email to everybody notifying them about the changes that are going on. It's in a Google form, again, to try to mitigate our use of paper-based exams, or not paper-based exams, excuse me, just paper in general, less touch surfaces for everybody. So the 7-day deadline that is talked about in the testing center is much more firm and hard than what it has been in the past. We need that 7-day request or a bigger time period to plan for that because of social distancing protocols, Katie and I's work schedule, and trying to determine who's going to be on campus and when, and the logistics of the exam with the professor. So if you're having an exam in our office, we need to make sure that it's an equitable and equal experience that it would be if you were taking it remote or doing it in the classroom, etc.
And finally, some warnings about testing that you should keep in mind and reach out to our office if this happens in your situation, because that would be a sign that we need to talk further. So with that, again, back to Megan.
Yes, so just a couple things to be aware of. If you have a class and your instructor is planning to use Blackboard as a means to support tests or quizzes, and you plan on using or you have an accommodation for Kurzweil or DragonSpeak, Blackboard does not support those assistive technologies, so that would mean that you would need to loop in with us if you plan on using those softwares during your quizzes or exams that are in Blackboard. Additionally, we have a new proctoring software that the institution has purchased called Lockdown Browser, and that also does not support Kurzweil. So if you know that you have a quiz or an exam that's coming up and Lockdown Browser is a software that your instructors are using, again, please loop in with our office as soon as possible. And this is a more general warning, heads up. Your extended time should be based on the full amount of time that you are taking an exam or a quiz. It should not be based on each individual question. So if you notice that you're in a quiz or an exam and each question individually is being timed and the extended time is given based on those questions and not the whole exam block, please let us know so we can reach out to your instructors to clarify the way that extended time needs to be used on exams or quizzes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So moral of the story, reach out, talk to us. Have any questions or concerns about testing or use of the testing center.
Yep.
With that, I'll start talking about audio recording, which many of you have as an accommodation permission to audio record class lectures. Because Maryland is a two-party consent state, we need to have an audio recording agreement signed by you and the instructor. But again, because we're limiting the touch points of paper this semester, we've set up an electronic process. There is a Google form link that you see here on the screen. It's also a link that we'll make sure is posted on the website along with the recording. It should also be in your inbox if you have this accommodation. But you need to fill out that Google form for as many classes as you want to use the accommodation in so that we can reach out to instructors to verify that they are okay with you recording. So that way we can establish the two-party consent. You can't record until we have consent from the instructor and that you have filled out this Google form. And of course, you need to have shared with your letters with them so they know and that you are officially activating the accommodation. If you've made a request and you haven't heard back from us about the status of the recording permissions, please don't hesitate to reach back out. Remote world and navigating all of these electronic protocols, it's a lot for us to be managing. We're doing our best to keep up with it, but sometimes, our turnaround time isn't as fast as it typically is when we are in our more traditional setup. So if you're concerned about not being able to record, check in with us, please. Modified agreements for both deadline and attendance policies. Because of the shorter summer we had to get everything set up, and then also changes around add drop as it's being managed right now, we are still doing requests and collecting them for the students who had accommodations renewed for the fall semester before the courses even started, and now for students, as we've started the semester, we're still making requests. Because of the delays with ad drop, please let us know if you make changes to your schedule in case we have to revise who we contact for these agreements, because we want to make sure that you have the correct agreements for the courses. And again, these agreements aren't active until your letter is shared with the instructor. But if you get to a point in the course where you might need to use this accommodation, but you don't have the modified agreements, you need to reach out to our office so we can work with you and the instructor to figure out a path forward. So, and back over to Megan, because it's assistive technology.
Yay, assistive technology. So Kurzweil is working the same, thankfully. So, you know, if you need a alternative text uploaded into your Kurzweil account, make sure you're filling out the alternate text Google form, which again, that should be in your email, and the alternate text Google Doc is also posted on our website. If you need it and you're having trouble finding the email, just let us know so we can send that over to you, because there is some lag time depending on the text itself, and depending on who I need to reach out to get an alternate format. For folks that are new to Kurzweil or just need a refresher, I'm hosting a webinar this Friday. So if, depending on when you're watching that, that would be, is that the 21st?
Yes.
August 21st at 2:45. The link is here, and so is the passcode. And if you have Kurzweil as an accommodation, I've also sent folks webinar information for that. So make sure you register for that. Again, it will be recorded like this webinar is, but join me on Friday to get more information about Kurzweil.
Okay. And similarly,
oh, where's the SonaSent?
So there's
there it is.
I clicked too fast. It's all good.
So similarly, there is going to be a SonaSent webinar again on Friday, the 21st at 3:45 p.m. So right after the Kurzweil webinar. If you have a SonaSent license already, you have gotten sent that information. To broadly give you more information about SonaSent, it's one of the ways that our permission to audio record accommodation is supported. So if, and other folks have, you know, tape recorders and they're okay with that, and some people have LiveScribe pens. So if you have permission to audio record, but you don't have SonaSent and you think that you may benefit from accessing that software, please reach out to us and let us know so we can have additional conversations about that. So the way that SonaSent will work, again, like Katie has said before, make sure you're sharing your letters with your professors. Your accommodations are not active in a class until your letters are shared. And then once your letters are shared, again, make sure you're filling out that audio recording Google form so then we can reach out to professors so we have consent on your end and your instructor's end. And again, if you don't have a SonaSent key and you need one, or you know that you were supposed to have that as an accommodation, please let us know so we can send that over your way.
And with that, we have landed at the slide where, well, we would be taking questions in the chat box. We don't have any people in the chat box right now. But so we'll use this time instead to remind everyone that, you know, we really are here to help and brainstorm and figure out paths forward in what has been already a very unusual academic year from last year to this year. We aren't trying to create barriers or add to barriers that exist to the campus experience. So if there's something you encounter that's that we're not aware of, please bring it to our attention. We're not here to be adversarial. We're here to be resources for you to figure out how to navigate your campus experience in a meaningful way. We have updated our campus website, main campus website. Megan did a great job spearheading a lot of changes to the information that we have available on the website. So you can certainly seek out that information. It is linked in all of our email. Like if you open up an email that's from ADA support, down in the signature block where you see accessibility services, it is linked to the homepage of our website. So you can use that to unlock additional information and resources.
Yep.
And reach out if you have any questions. And we look forward to doing what we can to help you in this semester and beyond. All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, and stop.